Това е Макс Хаймендорф, един от най-младите директори в мрежата на училищата АРК в Великобритания и директор на Кинг Соломон Академията. Той ще ни каже малко повече за това, какво прави неговата роля толкова важна и какъв е неговия лидерски подход за развитието на това училище.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's session. Thank you for the introduction. So I have flown here from England to speak to you, and I was really proud and pleased to be able to represent Teach First yesterday and to be part of the Teach for Bulgaria experience. And I met many of the teachers yesterday and many of the people involved in the program, and there was a huge amount of energy and commitment that was really clear to me. So I'm really impressed by everything I'm seeing over my visit, and I hope that this morning we can explore some of the ideas of what I've been involved in the UK and how that might be relevant to the work here in Bulgaria. So the presentation this morning is to try and achieve three things. One, to tell you the story of a Teach First alumni, myself, and I know that we've now got lots of Teach for Bulgaria alumni, and we've got one very famous one who's already a principal of a school, which is fantastic, so let's give her a round of applause. But I know in the future there will be many Teach for Bulgaria alumni who go and do amazing things in education. So I think hopefully my story can be of interest to them. The second thing is to talk about the impact and the approach at my school, because I hope that will be interesting to you. And lastly, what are some lessons for Teach for Bulgaria from those things? So let's start at the beginning and tell you a bit about my journey as a Teach Firster. So in 2003, so this is many years ago, when I was much younger, we were the first cohort. So in Teach for Bulgaria, it's 2011 was the first cohort. For me, it was 2003. And just like the 2011 participants in Bulgaria, the first people to do Teach First were very brave and perhaps very stupid, but mainly brave. And we felt a little bit like guinea pigs, you know, like lots of things were being for the first time on us. But it also made us feel like we could achieve many things. And that was very exciting. So we also kind of started out on a journey where it wasn't clear what was possible in education. But as I did 2 years in school and then a third year in school, I started to become frustrated by what was happening in normal schools. And the thing that frustrated me was low expectations. The teachers, the parents, and the education system did not believe that the children could achieve great things. And I did believe the children could achieve great things. So I wanted to do something about it. And after I finished Teach First and I taught for 3 years, I then started reading and learning about people in America who had gone on a similar journey. So some of you will know about KIPP. KIPP is the Knowledge is Power program. And this classroom is in Houston. This is about 1995. These two here, Mike Feinberg and Dave Levin, were two of the first Teach for America alumni. And they started in a classroom and they said, we will make something amazing happen for these children. And they started one classroom, and then they started 2 classrooms, and then they started more than 1 year group. And something amazing was happening in their classrooms and in their school. And now, Mike and Dave run 200 schools across America that are changing American education. Just down the road, also in Houston, another Teach for America alumni had started his own school too. This is Chris Barbick. And I had the opportunity, after I finished Teach First, to fly to America and spend time in their schools. At this point, no one in England had started a school. There were no Teach First principals. And what I saw was just amazing. It was transformational. And if you ever get the chance to go and see schools in America that are this good, you should. The one story that stood out for me was I was in Yes Prep classroom, and there were all the children were there. And in England, at high school, we separate the children. So we put the clever ones in the top class. We put the ones who aren't clever in the bottom class. And if someone does well, they move up a class, and if someone does badly, they move down a class. You can imagine some very bad things happen because of that system. The children at the bottom give up hope. The children at the top become very arrogant. In this class, everything was mixed up. And I asked one of the children, how do you feel about, when you do well on a test and the person beside you does badly? And the child said to me, if someone beside me doesn't do well and doesn't learn something, then I'm here to help them. Because if one of us succeeds, we all succeed. And if one of us fails, we all fail. And I had never heard children talk about their school and their team like that. And so from these experiences, I wanted to start my own school in London. And this is a newspaper article from back in 2010. And the subheading here says, Max is the youngest head teacher in the country, but is he too young? So there's a lot of people saying, this is stupid. He's only taught for 3 years. He's only 29, 30 years old. This is too much. But I was very lucky because I had people, part of the Art Network, who believed in me and trusted that I could do this. And there weren't any other Teach First head teachers. So a big challenge to the system is, who is going to trust young, ambitious head teachers to change the world? And so I would make the challenge to the Teach for Bulgaria participants and to the government that those people need to be trusted and given opportunities. So it was a very exciting journey for me. I employed all my Teach First friends, okay? So it was just Teach First, and my teachers are superheroes, okay? They're not normal human beings. They work so hard, they care so much. And we were able to create a school where every teacher was willing to do everything. I think that is a really exciting thing to create in education, where there is teamwork and alignment. And all the teachers care the same amount as each other. And when that happens, something amazing can happen in a school. So that is an exciting challenge. So I'm now going to talk a bit about, kind of the school and what we do. If anyone has any questions later about the journey, then they should ask me. So firstly, why is a school like King Solomon Academy important in England? This shows the relationship between how rich a family is and how well their children do in school. And every country, I think, feels like they could do better. But for us in the UK, if your family are rich, you have an amazing life. I was very lucky. My parents had resources, and they were able to send me to a private school. And from a private school, I then went to Oxford University. So I was lucky. I got good luck. But in our country, if you're born into poverty, the situation is not good. There's lots of data that shows this. For me, this is the most powerful one. On the right is children who go to independent schools, private schools. Their parents pay money for them to go to school. In those schools, half of the children go to a top university. For children who are poor, they have free school meals. only 2% go to top university. And I think this is unfair. It doesn't need to be this way, and I'm going to do something about it. So in my school, the majority of pupils fall into this category. Their families are very poor. They live in social housing, in small flats in central London. Most of my families are immigrants. Their parents have come with very little money to London, and these children are being brought up in London. So I'm saying I want all of my children, not 2%, but all of them, to be able to go to a top university. When we started the school, this was the sort of picture in the country. So each of the grey dots is a school. Along the bottom axis, we have poverty, measures of poverty. So the further to this way you go, the higher the proportion of children who have low income. And on the left is educational outcomes, so how well they do in the end of school. And when we started, this is the picture. All the dots are here, and in this area up here, there are no children no schools, who have high poverty and high attainment. And this allows, when there's no examples, this allows the system to believe that it's not possible. So when someone says, we're going to put a dot here, we're going to have high poverty and high outcomes, the system says, no, it's not possible. And when you say it to children, and you say it to families, and you say it to teachers, somewhere in their mind, they think this isn't possible. So when we started the school, we wanted to show it was possible. Well, we worked for many years doing lots of hard work. And over the last 2 years, we started to get our first results. And last year, we had, of all of the schools that don't have selection tests when the children came in, we had the highest results in the whole country, despite being in the bottom 1% for poverty. So on this graph, we created a new dot on the right-hand side. And this is very powerful because now other schools here who serve poor income communities, they can't say it can't be done. They can say it's hard. They can say, what can we learn from King Solomon Academy? What do we need to do differently? But they can't say it's impossible. And so I think this is a very important way of changing a system, is to create proof points of what's possible. So sometimes Teach for Bulgaria might think we only have 100 alumni, or we only have, but if you do the right things, you can have a lot of impact on the system. And it was very proud for me this year because the first group of children finished school and have gone to university. And yeah, maybe when my own son goes to university, I'll feel like that too. But it's a very proud moment. This guy is the minister for schools in England, and he came and he said, "Good job, well done." So that was nice. Okay, so I'm trying to stick to my time. I'm going to share 5 things we do in the school that I think are really good. So I don't know whether you can do them in Bulgaria or anywhere else, but let me tell you about those 5 things. So the first thing is you have to aim high. You have to have audacious goals. So for us, we said all of our children are going to go to university. And then that means, well, when they're 16, they need to get to a standard. When they're 14, they need to get to a standard. When they're 11, they need to get to a standard. So you have to work backwards from where you're trying to get to. And so that gave us a sense of urgency. When we started with just the children who are 11, we thought, well, they need to move so much and so much and so much. And so when you walk into my school, the first thing on the ceiling is this banner. It says, "Climbing the Mountain to University." So every day when the children walk in, we shake their hand, we say good morning, and they look up and they know why they're in school. So it's very, there's a big direction. Okay. And then we also want to make university real. So we take the children, all of the children, to university to live on residential trips. So when they're 11 and 12 years old, they spend a whole week at this university, the University of Warwick, which is one of the best 10 in England, and they live on the university site. And so we're trying to get into their minds, this is possible for me, this is fun, this is good. And I think the danger is if we just take children for one day to look at something, they might think, this isn't good, I don't like this. But if we give them a great experience, then they learn. Okay. The second, and now I have to remember because it's in Bulgarian, I think this one is about relationships. You can nod if it's about relationships. Okay, there's nodding, good. So this is about, in English schools, in high school, it's very large. So there might be 1,000 or 2,000 children in a school. And I think that is a bad model for education, because I think children need to be treated as individuals and they need to have strong relationships. So I think in Bulgaria, for various reasons, maybe you don't have such large schools, but it's still important. Those relationships need to be strong. So we actually changed the model. Normally in England, you have, when you come to secondary school, to high school, you have 12 different teachers. And what we said is this is stupid. You don't want to have 12 different teachers. If you can't read well, you just need someone to care about you reading well. You don't need 12 teachers seeing you 1 hour a week to teach you about history. You need someone who's going to sit with you and care about you and care about your family. So we squashed the number of subjects and the number of teachers. So instead of seeing 12 teachers, you see 4 or 5 teachers. And for a teacher, instead of seeing 200 children, you just see maybe 60 children. So keeping the relationships close. And also with the curriculum, we said, normally in England, the history teachers want to teach history. The music teachers want to teach music. The art teachers want to teach art. And so the time becomes very small amounts of time. We said no. English and maths are the most important. We need more time. So we had homework every night in English and maths, and also reading homework. And then we also had more lessons in those subjects. And we had a longer school day. So we put more time into the things that are important. Okay. The third one is all about people. So the first thing is we're very lucky because we're a new school, we can hire new teachers. So for some principals, they might say, well, I just have the teachers I have. That's life. I was very lucky. I could choose the teachers I wanted. And so one of the things I did is I took people straight out of university, maybe people who would have done Teach for Bulgaria or Teach First, and I put them straight into my school, no experience, and I trained them in how to be a teacher. So then they, 2 years later, 3 years later, they're superstar teachers, but they don't cost the school very much money because they're young and they're start of their career. And also they haven't learned bad habits in other schools. So it's like a way of protecting them. And then the other thing, if you haven't read this book, Leverage Leadership, it's very good. It's by Paul Bambrick-Santoyo from Uncommon Schools. In America, they've developed coaching models where schools guarantee that they will see the teachers teach at least once a week. They will spend 15 minutes in the lesson, and then they will have 1 hour of coaching in the week. So in our school, in the school day, this happens. So every teacher, whether they're good or bad, and all the school teachers in my school are good, but whether they're good or excellent, they have this coaching. So everyone feels like they're getting better all the time. And this is part of having good staff, because good people want to get better. So if you help them to get better, they'll come and work for you. So when we recruit teachers, they don't just teach a lesson, they teach a lesson for 1 day, and then we coach them, and then they reteach the same lesson to another group of children. And we see, can they get better when we coach them? So if they don't like that, then they shouldn't come and work in our school. The next one is relationships with families. So we try and have very close relationships. I've done about 450 visits to homes. For every single child who comes into the school, I go and have a 1-hour meeting in their home. And I meet with their parents, and I promise them how school is going to be. And I say to the parents, this is what I need you to do for me. And all parents want their children to do well, but if you're not clear about what doing well means, and you're not clear about what the parents need to do, then it's not good. For example, this girl, her family are very strict Muslims. When I say, let's go away for 1 week to a university, the parents say, you're crazy. Our daughter is a Muslim. She is not going off with you for 1 week. No way. The one time when she will sleep outside of our home, and that is when she's married. And so this is about building a relationship so that we can say to this family, we are family. When she comes with us, she's not with strangers, she's with her family. So, and if we can help make things like that happen because we have a strong relationship, then we're going to make a big difference to the children's lives. Okay, fifth one, last one. Okay, this is about governance and leadership. So in the UK, we had what I think is a really good system where the school governance, so how it was held to account and regulated, was given to strong, successful business people. So my governors are not government officials. They are successful business people who have put money into the school, and they then hired me to lead the school. And their attitude is like a business. Not to make money, their attitude is, we are going to be the best. We're going to change the world. This isn't just a job, this is how we can make the world a better place. And I think that is very strong. So when I say, I want to do crazy things, I want to do things differently, they say, be more crazy, do more good things. So they're a very, very strong influence on me to do things that are bold. And so I think a mixture of me being bold and them being bold means the school can be bold. Okay, last things. What do I think are learnings for the Teach for Bulgaria community? Okay, it's a lot of Bulgarian. I'm trying to remember what it says. I think the first, well, let me think about the first two. Okay, now I know what that one says. Okay, let's talk about this one because I know what that one says. Okay, this one is about the power of the teacher, I think. Is it the power of the teacher?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, people are saying yes. Good. So the first thing is understand that it's wonderful to start up extra charities, extra social enterprises, special things. But the thing that changes children's lives is what happens in school. So for those of you who are excited about all the other things, that's great, and do that. But as a community, remember that it's what happens in the classroom that matters. So as a teacher for Teach for Bulgaria, you can create a bubble. You can create a place in your classroom where something exceptional happens. But then also as a community, you need to be clear what those things are that makes it special. And I think also as a community, you've got to create the belief in what's possible. So now that you've got some principles, you can start to see what is possible in the system, but you've got to keep your expectations high and aim to be the best. So just for me, if you ever want to visit our school, that's my email address. The plane is very fast. That's what I've learned. So you're very welcome to visit if you'd like to visit. Those are all my words. Okay.
Thank you.